A commercial restaurant kitchen is one of the most hostile environments for an electrical system. The ambient heat is intense, the hours are long, and heavy mechanical equipment cycles continuously throughout the day. Despite this extreme environment, the standard industry practice for sizing off-grid solar and battery systems relies on a simplistic calculation. Installers simply add up the running watts of all the appliances and match that total to an inverter's maximum rating. This chart shows the result of that standard math. A list of appliance wattages perfectly sums up to 9,800 watts, neatly paired with a 10 kilowatt inverter. On paper, it looks like a mathematically sound design. In a quiet, temperature-controlled residential home, this one-to-one matching works perfectly well. But drop this exact mathematical model into a commercial kitchen, and those numbers collapse immediately. The system faults. An unexpected inverter shutdown in the middle of a dinner rush stops refrigeration cold. Inventory spoils, prep lines go dark, and an entire business is forced to close its doors during peak revenue hours. That failure happens because running watts do not account for the specific physics of commercial loads. To build a system that survives, the design must handle inductive surges, high amperage thermal stress, and the way kitchen heat changes how often compressors run. Basic addition is useless here. Keeping a restaurant powered means engineering a system that can absorb extreme thermal loads and massive transient spikes without breaking a sweat. To understand why a 10 kilowatt inverter suddenly trips under an 8 kilowatt load, we have to look at the exact types of electrical loads sitting inside a kitchen. Some equipment draws a stable, resistive load. Heat lamps, warming trays, and commercial toasters fall into this category. This graph maps the predictable electrical behavior of a resistive load. Once you turn the element on, it draws a steady, continuous stream of power over time. But large compressors and extractor fans are inductive loads, obeying different electrical rules. Watch the power line for an inductive compressor. At startup, the motor requires an instantaneous, violent spike of current to overcome physical inertia, before dropping to its steady running wattage. That momentary spike can be 3 to 5 times higher than the operating current printed on the side of the machine. A typical residential kitchen has one refrigerator. A commercial kitchen often runs deep freezers, walk-in coolers, beverage fridges, and ice makers all at the same time. Because these units cycle on and off autonomously to maintain internal temperatures, you eventually hit a statistical inevitability called surge stacking. Multiple compressors will try to start at the exact same millisecond. When 3 of these individual compressor curves happen to overlap, their initial startup spikes stack on top of each other. The combined demand violently pierces right through the 10 kilowatt limit of the inverter. The continuous running watts of those 3 fridges are well under the safe limit, but that overlapping transient spike instantly triggers a hardware overload, shutting the entire system down. Factor in massive extractor fans pulling smoke out of the ventilation ducts, presenting their own reactive current demands, subjecting the inverter to continuous, hammering stress. Sizing the alternating current side of a commercial system must always be dictated by the maximum transient surge headroom. Continuous running watts are simply a baseline. Moving past the AC appliances, we have to trace these loads back to their source, the direct current battery bank. Translating that massive AC load into battery draw relies on a strict mathematical relationship. This equation defines total system draw. Power equals voltage multiplied by current. Rearranging to isolate current exposes the exact bottleneck of a high-capacity solar setup. Pulling 10,000 watts of power from a 48-volt battery bank resolves to an immense figure, over 208 continuous amps. Pulling over 200 amps of continuous DC current is a punishing, extreme load that tests the physical limits of every component in the chain. Forcing that volume of electrons through standard wiring creates intense mechanical friction, which immediately translates into raw heat. This thermal imaging cross-section captures what happens to a slightly undersized copper cable under that exact load. The bright red zones show dangerous thermal buildup, localized at the terminals. Sustained exposure to this heat melts insulation, scorches busbars, and causes low-quality direct current breakers to mechanically warp and fail under pressure. Even if the physical wiring survives the heat, the massive current draw creates a secondary issue. The sheer volume of amperage rapidly pulls down the output voltage of the battery cells. This severe voltage sag tricks the battery management system into registering a dead cell. To protect itself, the BMS triggers an immediate low-voltage disconnect, killing power to the kitchen even if the batteries are fully charged. Commercial system reliability depends on the physical architecture's ability to survive this thermal reality. If the DC cabling or bus bars cannot handle the amperage, the AC output capacity becomes irrelevant. Managing instantaneous power spikes keeps the system online minute by minute, but surviving an entire operational day requires calculating total energy storage accurately. This formula dictates the required size of the battery bank. Energy in watt-hours equals power multiplied by time. In a climate-controlled house, the time variable is predictable. A domestic fridge compressor only runs a few hours a day because the ambient temperature is comfortable and the doors remain closed. A commercial kitchen operates near 100 degrees Fahrenheit during peak dinner service. Watch the time multiplier on this equation. As ambient temperature slides upward, the internal environment fights the refrigeration. The compressor runtime physically expands, forcing the total watt-hour consumption to rise significantly. Add in the constant door openings by the prep staff, proximity to the hot cooking line, and hidden internal defrost heaters, and those compressors are forced into near-continuous operation. This expanded energy load demands heavily oversized solar arrays. The panels must produce enough surplus energy to cover these massive daytime spikes while simultaneously compensating for their own heat-induced efficiency losses on the roof. Failing to multiply the standard duty cycle to account for these extreme ambient temperatures guarantees a dead battery bank long before the dinner rush even begins. Successful commercial design requires addressing specific technical requirements, managing inductive surge, dissipating DC heat, and accounting for high-temperature runtimes. This schematic outlines the architectural reality of a properly built commercial solar setup. On the alternating current side, the design requires a heavy, low-frequency inverter built with massive inductive surge margin to easily absorb multiple overlapping compressor starts. Tracing downward to the direct current side, you must specify oversized 250-amp bus bars, thick copper conductors, and high-capacity lithium iron phosphate batteries, capable of sustaining heavy, continuous discharge without voltage collapse. Every individual connection point in this heavy-gauge chain requires exact mechanical torque and industrial-grade physical compression to prevent thermal runaway. Specifying heavy-duty components, thicker cables, and oversized inverters requires a higher initial investment, but that cost is negligible compared to losing thousands of dollars in spoiled inventory every time a weak breaker trips. The cheapest solar installation is rarely the one that survives industrial use. You have to design the electrical architecture for the surge, the heat, and the mechanical extremes, because in a commercial restaurant kitchen, average conditions do not exist.